So I just took the painting outside and laid these like long branches across it in different sections and then spray painted white over it. And I was also using paper to like block off certain areas, so that's why there's all these holes, which is from like the notebook spiral of a page. So my process for this painting has just been like painting and then going outside and spray painting with, I got this white spray paint like for class and I didn't even use it, but I've just been like playing around with this. So I'll like come in here and I'll like paint a bunch and then I just go back out there and like spray paint over it, and I keep on like working up like layer after layer after layer and kind of just waiting till I find these like moments that I really feel like drawn to, and like moments in the painting where I'm like, this needs to stay. And then there's other moments where I'm like less excited about them and I'm like, okay, this one we're gonna go back out and we're gonna like paint back over it, or like we're gonna do like we're gonna make big moves. I feel like that's something I really learned in my summer class. Like my instructor really pushed doing like just going for like big moves and like big, you know, just taking like the risk with your piece. Like just literally do whatever, I don't know, go for something big. I definitely feel like that's helped me a little bit in my process, but oops. Also though, like I've been using paint obviously, but I also, because I kind of did this in my last painting similar to this, I was using like markers and stuff, but for this one I've been using these like highlighters, and I really like the way that they've been looking, and especially after like, so I paint and then I do the white spray paint thing, and the white spray paint usually doesn't even come out as like a solid white. It's more of like a tint of white on top of the paint. So like because of that, it makes going over areas with the highlighter a lot more vibrant and really stick out. Like for example, in this area I used highlighter a lot, like to bring out these neon colors, or I'll also go over it with like a neon paint. All the color under, well, I just spray painted it so it's a lot duller now, but all the color underneath here was from the highlighter. And then I have these like lines that go across the whole area, which was originally made by the stick a couple of like spray paint sessions ago, and I just like kind of outlined it with the highlighter. But anyway, I'm really liking where this painting is going, and it feels a little bit different for me. I feel like because of this like spray paint sort of like mist, it's kind of giving me like extraterrestrial kind of like space vibes. It actually kind of reminds me a lot of King Cruel's album covers. Like I don't know why, but this section I'm just like for some reason to me like this shape is just so King Cruel. I have no idea why, but like this corner to me reminds me of him. But yeah, I'm just like excited to keep playing, and I think that it's I think that it's just like interesting right now because as I was painting I started feeling like, oh, I can tell that I'm getting towards like, because yesterday I was like, I'm not done at all, like this shit is premature, like I honestly didn't even know where to go. But something that always helps is flipping the painting in different directions like as you paint. Like I flipped this like upside down, like either way, off and on throughout the process, and like it just really helps a lot, I think, with this kind of painting. But anyway, I just find it interesting because like I'm starting to feel like that feeling of like we're coming to a close, like because I'm starting to really like a majority of the areas that are going on here. Like it's almost like almost in every single section I'm like, I really like this thing, which means that there's not as much to do. So I'm almost like, I'm feeling like I'm actually pretty close to the sort of finishing touches stage, which is crazy because it sometimes comes up very unexpectedly, like the finishing touches stage. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to like get there this morning, especially after just like not that long, but I don't know, sometimes things just work out. But yeah, I just thought, I don't really know if this is interesting at all, but I guess as a documentation for myself, it's just nice to know like what my thought process was with making this. So yeah. Also, something else that I want to just say is that something that I feel like I really had to let go of to make my paintings better. Like, once I did this, I feel like my paintings literally got so much better. And that's basically being okay with like completely trashing what you make along the process. Like, I feel like in the past I tried to be so conservative and like thoughtful with all the paint I was using. And like, yes, it is good to not be like wasteful, but also like, I feel like you have to also allow yourself to think of like all of these like behind layers and experimentation before the final painting, like before the final colors that you see. Like if there's a ton of stuff going on behind, like you have to understand that that's literally a part of the final process though, like, or of the final result. Like that stuff behind it, even though you can't see it and like it's not visually there, it is like literally the building, like the foundation. It's like inside of a house, I don't see the wood and like the insulation, but it's like behind the wall of like the finished coat of paint, and like there's all that stuff behind it. And I feel like that's the same thing with like paintings. Like I have so many different layers and like a lot of things that I thought were really cool moments to begin this painting with. Like this was a completely different painting before. Like the parts that I really liked about it whenever I initially like was doing the first paint strokes, like I don't even see where they are. Like I have no idea where they went, but like I have to like allow myself to just let it go, because even though it was like an interesting, cool moment, like you can't hold on to all of them in a painting sometimes. Like you have to kind of let yourself trash them in order to like bring about something like greater, like in order to build off of it. Instead of taking the first good thing, it's like, okay, but what can we make this good thing like two things better? You know what I mean? So I feel like if any other artist is watching this, like that's my advice to you, is just like not to be afraid of like trashing things, because that's just something I hate doing. Like I don't like throwing away my art. I don't like throwing away things that I could like collage with, because I'm always like, oh, but this is like kind of interesting. And like sometimes that can be good, but I feel like you have to get comfortable also with just being like, bye. Or like completely, or just like breaking down something in order to build it back up in a better new way. So okay, I'm filming again because this is another moment in the process that usually happens many times, where I reach a point where I know that the painting is not done yet, but also I know that I can go no further, because it takes like time to like sink in. And sometimes like I try to base most of my process off of my intuition and just like trusting the next move that I go for, but sometimes I don't know what I want that move to be, or I just like don't, it's like I can't really tell how I feel about something, which is kind of where I'm at right now. So then usually I'll just take a break and then come back to it whenever I'm ready, but I'll show you guys what I'm uncertain about. So this is the painting right now, and I just did these like fan brush swoops, and I am feeling a little bit unsure about, I mean, I just know that that's not what the final should look like. Like, I just feel it in my bones that that's not right. But I don't think it was like a bad move. Like, there's no such thing as a bad move, really. It's just like not the final one. So not gonna keep that. I do enjoy this little texture element here, but this whole line of dots, like I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think. Like, no. Well, maybe. Now that I'm taking a step back, maybe. See, this is why I gotta like take time, but I'm really not a fan of just of those like on top of everything else. So I don't really know what I want to do next, but I think I just need to take a second to like think about it and just like stare at the painting. So I'm gonna take a little break. Okay guys, I actually finished my painting and a lot happened since the last time that I talked, so I'm just gonna show it real quick. Here she is. This is not the best spot to put it, but yeah, here she is. Yeah, I made some big moves. And this always kind of happens. It was sort of a more subtle vibe last time I was with you, keeping things kind of in this same, kind of like a foggy setting, but I just like had to go crazy. And I had a lot of, well, I started playing with like these transparencies and sort of like implying layering, and I definitely just, I'm just noticing more and more how I'm taking those digital art practices and making it into physical. And I think it's really cool and interesting because when you do those things that, like, such as on Procreate, when I play with transparencies and layering and negative space, I think it's so much more interesting doing it analog in an actual painting because that leaves the chance of life in the mix. Like, for example, there's like 3 different layers of the same shape right here, but like this stuff, this like wash, this stuff would have never happened in Procreate. And like the way that the screen has like outlined this red just naturally, like this would have never happened in Procreate. So yeah, I finished that and I finished it yesterday. It was almost hard. It was almost hard to tell when it was really done, but I sort of just, I don't know. I just decided, I guess. Which is, yeah, okay. I don't know. I still feel like with this piece, even though I definitely think that it's done right now, I also feel that it may not be done forever. Like, I can see myself coming back to this, but I know that it's like we're at a stopping point right now. Like, we've reached a train station and we're going to be getting off there and staying there, but it's always possible that we can get up and go again, you know? That's the feeling I get with this. Like, we may be living here for a little bit, but we may not be settling down here forever. That's how it feels to me, which is interesting. But I just wanted to like finish up this little video about my little thoughts on my process as I go and stuff with saying that something that I just realized is really important to me when making art is how I love for it to be a long experience that the viewer can have with the art, like how they can sit there and stare at the painting for literally like just like over and over again for like, you know, like 20 minutes at a time and still be like wandering and like finding new things and seeing things differently, noticing how things interact in a different way, and for it to just be this very like almost like a never-ending relationship with the painting. Like, it kind of always feels dynamic when you're kind of perceiving it, and I kind of feel like the process that I go through to make the painting is what influences that viewer relationship to be so long, because the process is so long and like it's so layered and interconnected in these like ways, but it's like all out in the open though, if you know what I'm saying. Like, yes, it's like, for example, if you're thinking of someone making like a realism portrait with oil paint, it's like they're going through this whole process and everything and all these different layers and yeah, like layering colors and building textures, but it all works together in this way where it like tricks the eye to think that it's real because of like the value and stuff. And I feel like this is kind of interesting because it also has all these layers and all of these like ways to incorporate texture. Like, this is completely like out there 3D, and yeah, there's just all of this, but it's all still there. Like, the remnants are all still there. It feels like I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I don't really know what point I was making. I just feel like you can kind of, I feel like it's the Pollock idea, how you can like see the process of the painter in the painting, but I feel like this is a little bit more like, a little bit more interesting than Pollock. I'm sorry, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna be on my high horse here and be like, I'm better than Pollock, but like, if you've seen his work, you just understand what I mean, okay? I'm not even trying to be like a hater here. But yeah, this was like a really random video, but it's more just for me because I feel like it's really interesting to look back on the way that I thought about my art and like how I went about making it, because I feel like more and more I realize that it's those like gut feelings and also experimentations that I learn the most from and can take the most from. So I just think it's helpful to have it here to look at and interesting. So anyway, bye.